Hi, boys and girls. Good morning and welcome back to First Grade at Home. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing good. I miss you a lot and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. But let's get started. First, on our next day of school, it's going to be the 114th. That's 114 on our hand right there. And we'll go to March because it's March 19th. So I'm going to put a 1 and a 9 right there, and we're done with the calendar. And then, of course, the next thing you do is your copy work. So make sure you do that every day, and it will help you do really good handwriting. And after that, we always do our math. Today, we're going to do something completely different. But we review, remember we always review, so I'm going to do our review problem a little differently today. I'm going to say this. I have some pennies, and maybe I'll use Julia. I'll say, and Julia gave me 4 pennies. So now I have 10 pennies. So now I'm going to write a number sentence about how I just said that. And I said, I have some pennies. So some means what is in the box. And Julia gave me 4 pennies. And now I know I have 10. And so the question is, what goes in the box? And if you remember your patterns of what 2 numbers make 10, and if you can't remember, you can always write them down. But I think some of you remember, and I think you know the answer is yes, it is 6. Now let's use a different person. Let's say Mrs. Patty has some pennies, and we'll say Mackenzie gave her 2 pennies, and now she has 10 pennies. So that's sort of the same thing that I just wrote. So Mrs. Patty has some pennies, so that's why we do the box. And Mackenzie gave her 2 pennies, but now she has 10. So what number would go in that box, do you think? You're right. That's a good one. We have 10, and there's 2. It's going to be 8. And you know what? Those are the same problems that we've been working on. So I'm going to do one more, and then you can take these same problems, because they'll be on the video, and you practice them on some paper or just even in your copy work. You could use the last page in there, and you could write some of these on some of that extra paper. So let's say that I have some pennies, so you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a box, and Julia gave me 3 pennies. But I know now I have 10. So what number goes in there? 7. That's right. So you work on that, and maybe you can even do more. Now the next part of our math lesson, I'm going to take this down. The next part of our math lesson is something we have not ever done before. And you probably saw the paper, and you know they're numbered. For your name is right there. Let's see, I'll put this up a little higher. And don't worry about this. We're going to do some writing. Now I'm going to bring the phone up a little bit closer so you can see. This is about measuring. So sometimes when we measure how tall we are. We measure how far it is from a certain distance when we're traveling. We might measure some paper if we need to wrap a present, or we might measure a room if we're getting ready to build something in the room. And we use a tape measure or a yardstick or a ruler. But the first thing we do when we're learning to measure is just to think, what is measuring? So we're going to do something different. So if you look at the paper, it says measure. It has their place for your name. And the first picture on there is a boy. Now we are going to measure how many paper clips he is. So we have a small paper clip that's red and a big paper clip that's metal. We're gonna have a big paper clip measure space and a small paper clip measure space. So I'm gonna take my paper clip and put it right next to the boy. And there you see, he is about 1 paper clip long. So we put 1 under the big paper clip picture. Now I'm going to take the small paper clip and I'm going to measure it right next to the boy. There's 1, and I'm going to say it's right about where his hand is, and I'm going to move the paper clip down. But now I see that he is as tall as 2 paper clips. So I'm going to put a 2 over here. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the hat. I'm going to make it across though. So I'm going to put the paper clip across the hat there, and I can see it doesn't really go all the way down to the end of the hat, but it's not as long as 2 paper clips. It's really as long as 1 paper clip plus a little bit more. So that can be 1, but we can make a little plus sign there because it is a little bit more. So let's take the small paper clip and measure it. So that hat is longer than 1 paper clip. So we put our finger at the end of the paper clip and move it down, and we see it comes to the end of the hat. So that hat is about 2 paper clips long, just like the boy, just like the boy. Now you can see the apple is there, and then you can see the line. So you're going to measure all by yourself, and you're going to see how that works. That's going to be kind of hard. I think the apple is not even 1 big paper clip. So I think we'll just maybe just leave that one blank and just put a line, but we can measure it with the small paper clip, and then we're going to measure the line. So this will be a little different. We'll put the big paper clip at the end point and measure it to there, then hold our finger there and put the paper clip there and hold our finger there and put it there. So it's a little bit more than 2 paper clips. So that's a way to measure with paper clips. Now what I would like you to do on the back is take your ruler and make 3 lines, because you're going to measure them with the paper clip. So let's just make 3 lines of different length. Start at the top and don't go all the way to the bottom. At the end of that line, just put a line there so you can tell me how many paper clips there would be. And another line to tell me how many paper clips there would be for the different sizes. We could put big and little. And I have a line there. It's always good to put a dot on each end of the line. That's like the beginning and the ending point. So I'm going to make another line here, a little bit shorter. And I'll put a dot on each end. And I'll put a line under these. And we know the top line means big and the bottom line means little. And maybe I could even start my line a little differently, like down here. And I'll make 2 lines. So what you're going to do is use your ruler and make your own lines and then measure them with your paper clip. So you start at the end point, put your finger where the paper clip ended, put it there, and put your paper clip and put your finger where it ended. Put the beginning where your finger is. That's 3, 4, and a little bit more. So that's about 4, and you could put 4 plus. Now I'm not going to write that down because I don't want you to write 4 plus because your lines will be different. Now I would like you to do both sides of that, and then you have another sheet, and this is about drawing lines of symmetry. So you're going to get more practice with your ruler, and we did this before. I've had you go up to the board, trace a shape and draw a line right down the middle. So the first one right here is done for you. I think the second one will go right in the middle on those dots, and then you have 2 equal sides. So you're going to do number 6, you're going to do number 7, you're going to do number 8, and then you're going to do number 9, and use your ruler. And then you're going to look at the bottom where it says draw a different line of symmetry on each square. So some of your lines might be diagonal, one way, and some of them might be vertical. There's just a lot of different ways to do this. They might be horizontal. So you want to kind of look at it so you get it pretty even. So you're going to do all of that math, and that will be the end of your math. Now you know you're doing spelling after that, and the spelling you did yesterday. I wonder how that went with your flip up doors here. Remember Julia showed you, write your spelling words, say them, think them, look at them. What I would like you to do is do that again. There's still more room down here. You can write your spelling words again. It helps to write them a second time and a third time and a fourth time. And then you're going to look at them, say them, and spell them. Eat, E-A-T, eating, E-A-T-I-N-G, and so on. And then you cover that list up, and then now they are here, so how are you going to do that? Well, maybe you can just put a card like your spelling pocket over there and just hold it there, and then have somebody tell you eat, and then you write it down. But it would be good to cover them up and not peek, and write all the rest of your words, and then take that off and open up all the doors and check yourself. And if you've spelled it correctly, you can put a check mark, or you can give yourself a star, and do that for all of them. And then the day after this, I'm going to try to see if you can write them all by yourself, without looking and without practicing. So that will be a good way to learn how to spell. Now we are going to finish writing, and we're going to finish reading. Now I gave you a topic called My Favorite Restaurant, and I don't know if you've done that, but I want to just show you a couple of things that you can do. I've put the title right here, My Favorite Restaurant. And I started my topic by writing the same thing, my favorite. Now I can write restaurant, and because this is the title, all the words are capital letter, first word. Because this is a sentence, the favorite and the restaurant does not have to be capitalized. My favorite restaurant, because that's a good way to start, is... Now, I do have a favorite one. I'm going to just say it, and I do know how to spell it. It's called Park Grill. So now I've said it. My favorite restaurant is Park Grill. Now, that's not enough, so I need to say why it's my favorite restaurant, or just something else like that. I'm going to say something that I really love that they make. I love to eat, and eat, I know how to spell. We've been working on that. E-A-T. I love to eat the... Now, one thing they have that I love is lemon rice soup. So I'm going to say lemon, and I know how to spell that. Rice. Now, soup. Now, I know how to spell soup, but if you don't know how to spell it, think of it. S-oo-p. Well, I can hear the S. Ooh. Is that a O or a U? I'm not, maybe it's two O's. Soup. and I'm going to put a period. Now, boys and girls, I want you to try to figure out some of those words yourself and put down what you think it is instead of asking your mom or dad or your brother or sister, how do you spell soup? How do you spell lemon? How do you spell enchilada? How do you spell salad? Because then you're stopping what you're thinking about, because your writing is really what you're thinking and talking, and I want you to get it out and onto the paper first, and then we can work on the spelling later. I'm going to reread it. My favorite restaurant is Park Grill. I love to eat the lemon rice soup. Now, there's an interesting thing you can do when you're writing. You can ask a question. It's like asking your reader a question. So I'm going to write, do you know what else I like? Else. Now, maybe I don't know how to spell else, but that's okay. Oh, else. Else I like. And that's what I want you to do. Try to spell it without stopping and asking for somebody's help. Try to get out your thoughts. And the reason is because it's kind of fun to put a question when you're writing. Do you know what else I like? Now, you don't have to guess because you're just reading, but it's kind of fun to engage the reader that way. Do you know what else I like? Well, you don't know, so I'm going to tell you. I like the pita wraps. The pita wraps. Now, pita wraps are like a sandwich. I can just say I like the pita wraps. So now I've told you my favorite restaurant's name. I've told you 2 things that I like. I've even asked you a question. I think I'm going to tell you one more thing. It is close to my house, so I can, now I said can, so I'm going to just cross that out. I can walk to the park, because I'm going to say the detail, grill. Now, you might say something else. You might say you go there every Sunday at your restaurant, or you might say your grandma takes you there when she visits, or something like that. But the more you tell me, the more interesting it is. Now, when you're done writing, you can read it out loud, and then you'll see if you forgot a word or if you need to X out. It's okay. Tell your mom and dad, I want you to X out, because it helps me to see what you're thinking instead of just erasing. So after you're done writing, be sure to do your 15 minutes of reading, and I'll be back for the afternoon. Bye-bye.